Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Ottawa. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Ben Stark, and we are just about underway here. We've got William Huey Jensen under the lights, playing for top 8 against Xavier Allegrucci and And a nice start here from Xavier, a reasonable one drop with the disown ancestor.
I really like that guy.
Yeah.
He's just
Who, Xavier or the disown ancestor?
the disown ancestor.
You don't know Xavier?
I don't know Xavier at all, but I do know disown ancestor quite well, and it's a great blocker in the early game, and then it turns into a threat in the late game because you can power it up.
Yeah. It also enables raid sometimes too, which can be nice. It's a warrior as well if you're going for those synergies. Really nice card. It just fits a cross-section of a bunch of different types of strategies. And as you can see, it's going to do good work here as well, as it's enabling raid and making a Mardu Horde Chief against the lowly Highland game from William Jensen.
And if you assume you wouldn't do anything meaningful, most likely on turn 1 anyway, so it's not competing with much, it's a 2-mana 1/5 haste right now with the ability to level up later.
There you go.
That's a nice card.
That's a nice card. And what are we going to see, a morph here from Jensen? Jensen's got a very solid deck. It's nothing flashy from what we've seen of it. We watched him in the last round, but he kind of ran over KYT, who had, well, not a very solid deck, to be honest. It was a bit, I actually saw on Twitter, he posted, he said, I drafted a train wreck.
Yeah.
And I sadly have to agree with him on that one.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah, it happens. Sometimes it's just the seat. You just can't do anything about it. You got to try to make the best of it. And KYT did win his first match with it. He said he played against another deck that he thought wasn't very good. But then he played against Huey, who's got a very solid deck. It's a very Huey deck. No nonsense. You know, he's doing things with his mana every turn. He's obviously playing it really well because he's Huey Jensen. And,
I mean, that's a lot of what Limited's about.
Yeah.
People try and get so fancy, but really, you know, if you draft a good curve, if you can use all your mana every turn, you know, you're a favorite to win any game, I think.
Sure. And Huey, in fact, he did just that. He went 2-3-4.
Yeah.
You know, going 2-3-4 in Limited is pretty nice.
Is it? Oh, okay. He leveled it up with 2 planes. I guess that doesn't matter much. I'm trying to understand what happened on Xavier's last turn. It looks like he has 3 mana tapped. It looks like he played a tap Nomad Outpost and tapped 2 planes to level up his disown.
Yeah, what did happen? I actually missed that too.
I mean, I'm pretty sure on turn 3 he played the Horde Chief. And
yeah, he did play it on
so he
turn
has
3.
to have played the Nomad Outpost. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know if they're going to bother fix this or correct this. I don't think it really matters. That swamp should be tapped, but he has the swamp to activate the disowned ancestor, right?
He does have it. That's a little weird, though. Yeah. So we'll have to keep an eye on that to make sure it doesn't happen. Usually Huey would catch something like that. Huey's getting aggressive here, though. He actually bear punched the token so he could get his Highland game in there for a couple extra as well as his morph.
So, I mean, that tells us...
He's kind of baiting a race here, right?
Yeah, that tells us things like maybe Huey has an Arrow Storm or a Crater's Claws in hand, something to deal damage. If not, maybe, I don't know, maybe a Whirlwind, although probably not because he's nowhere near casting that.
A Water Whirl?
Water Whirl, yeah. Because, I mean, I don't know. That's a very aggressive play, like
it's very aggressive, yeah. So it also could just mean that he wasn't going to do anything else with his turn and he wanted to get some damage.
Yeah, he also may have a second Savage Punch, and it just felt like, well, this will get in damage now, and I still have another punch anyway, so.
Sure. In the meantime, land number 5 hits the battlefield on his first main phase so that he can attack with that morph and almost ensure no block from Xavier.
Let's see what he's casting.
He's just got it all.
Not a good turn 5.
Multiple 2-drops, yeah.
And, you know, I really wonder about Huey's morph here because, you know, if that was, say, a Snowhorn rider, I would probably unmorph that rather than just cast a Jeskai Elder that's not really going to impact the board.
Right, you want to use up your mana.
Right. So, I mean, I'm really curious now to what that could be.
Ankle Shanker from Xavier means that this race is going to favor him considerably, as Huey's going to have a really hard time blocking.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're trying to race, you're not really trying to do that much blocking anyway. Ankle Shanker's much better against, like, a wall deck or something that's just exclusively trying to block. I'm not saying this game is going that well for Huey because he has 2 high lane games out, a Jeskai Elder and a morph that he didn't just on-morph, that he chose to play Jeskai Elder over.
Right.
So clearly, Huey doesn't have much power here, and, you know, Xavier has better creatures. But I don't think the Ankle Shanker really destroys William here. I think that, you know, William Jensen, I call him Huey, that's, I guess, his nickname. I don't think that he's that unhappy about the Ankle Shanker. I think he's just unhappy that all of his creatures are so small and that he probably can't win this game with those creatures.
Right. Yeah, the 2-drop on turn 5 is no fun at all.
Right.
So what is he considering here?
I don't know, maybe just to start chump blocking since he gains all this life from the Highland. He doesn't really have a triple block that would even do anything unless he has spells in hand that do things. So
He's going to block the ankle shanker. Combat tricks become pretty irrelevant in the face of a shanker.
Right. Yeah, I think that was just a chump block.
Okay.
And if we look at his hand, it looks like he has a set adrift and a savage punch.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know if it was right or wrong, but that's why I used the savage punch so aggressively. He has a second savage punch and a set adrift to clear away a blocker. So it looks like he's, trying to be aggressive. I don't really think it's going to work that well this game.
It probably won't. I mean, Xavier doesn't have a lot of high-powered creatures. Everything he has 2 power, but he's got 4 things.
Right, but Huey realized he wasn't going to beat him on power.
Right.
He was going to have to be aggressive and try and end this game, steal the game, basically.
Yep. All right, so ankle shanker down thanks to the Jeskai Elder and its prowess trigger off of Savage Punch. And this is going to be set adrift.
Right.
On the Kieran.
Staying with the aggressive theme here. Even though you get a little more value on the Disowned Ancestor, he's more interested in dealing the 5 damage, I think, shortening this game. I think Huey wants both life totals to be low, not both life totals to be high. I think he's trying to steal this game.
He's definitely, and he's doing good work with it too. There's the Kieran back off the top for Xavier. Huey's got 2 lands in hand when he looted, or he had 1 land in hand and looted away another, so he's digging through his library but hasn't really found action quite yet. I see that Xavier's hand is Mountain Kieran Suspension Field. No target for the Suspension Field currently, so that's pretty nice for Jensen. Right. And it looks like Xavier's pumped the brakes a little bit here. He's going to attack for just 2.
And he's almost certainly not going to even level up the Disowned Ancestor anymore, just having 2 blockers back now, because he sees that, Huey's trying to race and that, I think Xavier's like, whoa, let's slow this down.
Hey.
I'll hit you in the air, nobody take any damage. I got a suspension field, in reserve.
Role has been reassigned. No longer the beatdown. Oh, but it was a Mystic of the Hidden Way. So this also shows us where Huey was going with this. Is that he thought if he could get his life total low, he could finish him off with a few hits from a Mystic.
He could steal the game potentially.
Yeah, and it looks like he's in position to do that right now, as that also dodges Suspension Field.
Right, and William clearly doesn't have the quality creatures out that Xavier has, but he's going to kill Xavier in 2 attacks if he doesn't gain any life.
Right.
And he's probably not. William is probably not going to die in 2 turns here.
No, not with the Highland game.
Yeah, he's got chump blockers. It's tight, but more than likely
he can double block the Horde Chief here too.
Right, which he's certainly going to do.
Yeah.
And
it does mean he doesn't gain life that turn, though. He does have to consider that, right?
Well, he falls to 4, but next turn he can still just chump with the Highland game.
I mean, he's got to consider Aerostorm here, right?
No, not really. There are some things you should consider, like maybe if Xavier drops another, say, random 2-power creature. But if I'm William here, I don't think I can beat an Aerostorm.
Why not?
Because he can just kill the Mystic.
Okay.
And that's William's only realistic way to win this game.
Gotcha. All right, so he is going to double block to make sure that the Horde Chief actually dies, and he even killed the
Highland
game for him. So,
which tells us maybe he doesn't have a blocker or something that can't block the Highland game at least.
That's interesting.
Oh,
Chief of the Edge.
I stand corrected there, but if I'm in Xavier's spot, I would probably go ahead and not kill the Highland game. The Jeskai Elder is a little bit more threatening, and you don't want to give him the life because you might be able to alpha for Xaxes.
And why is he post-combating the Chief there?
Yeah,
because it would have given the Horde Chief a pump of 1 toughness there as well.
Yeah, that's just a mistake.
Okay.
I mean, if he plays it first, then Huey doesn't have that double block.
He doesn't have that at all. And this is going to come down to the closest of margins here, as Huey seems to have ran out of gas, and he steals a game indeed. So plan A for Huey Jensen was, like you said, get their life totals low and then finish off with
and he lost with way better stuff, running out of creatures, but dealing Xaxes the turn before
that
he
was
died.
about as close as they get.
Yeah. Always a treat watching Huey play.
I love watching Huey play. So we're going to hit the sideboards up, and Huey Jensen has moved himself within 1 game of a virtual top 8 lock here in Ottawa. To the surprise of no one, I suppose. I mean, Huey is one of the best limited players in the whole world.
Yeah, probably only to the surprise of himself. I know he wasn't very happy with his seal.
No.
And I saw it. It was okay, but it wasn't good. Definitely wasn't good. And then, today, I don't think I saw I did see his first draft deck. It was good. It wasn't incredible, but it was good.
It was fine. It was blue-green. It was similar to this.
Yeah.
It is funny, though, because if you ever talk to Huey, you come out maybe to a GP and you want to meet him, he doesn't give away a lot. You know, how's
No.
your deck? Shrug. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know, like he never gets excited or bummed. He's just sort of always in the middle.
I definitely agree with that. But one thing I do like about him is, you know, he'll tell me my deck's not good this time or whatever. And a lot of people, I think, seem to think when their deck is average, it's good. When it's good, it's great.
Yeah.
You know? And like you said, Huey tends to keep it kind of in the middle, not too bad, not too good. He will say to me sometimes, I'll be like, how's your deck? He'll be like, not good, you know?
Right. But the thing is, when he says it, you can actually believe him.
That's what I'm saying.
I've also heard people
Yeah.
that flip it the other way, where they're like, it's a total train wreck, and you're like, this deck's fine. Like,
Yeah.
What are you talking? They just want to, you know, make it sound like they're a hero if they win
Yeah,
with their bad
sure.
deck or whatever.
Sure. I mean, everybody's different personalities. They love to spin it different ways.
It is funny. All right, so here's Neil Oliver versus Miles McInnes. Now, Neil won his last round. So he's actually won 5 games in a row now with 2 different draft decks. Excuse me, 5 matches in a row with 2 different draft decks, both of them running 18 lands and 2 banners. He's just doing it.
Somebody's got to be on Team Banner.
Well, you can get as many as you want, so.
You don't have to spend picks on them.
But Neil's definitely a thinking limited player. He drafts all the time. He's put, you know, he went and did an article with the guys, with the text guys, where he said you shouldn't play banners, and then now he's ran into them. I think he's kind of doing the thing where, like, he knows better, but he's found a spot where you should play them.
Well, sometimes there's value if you can get something late. I mean,
He's got a Villainous Wealth in the deck.
one thing I do like about the banners is that they add 3 additional types of mana.
Yeah.
So you get up in sources a lot.
Yes.
So if you want to draft, say, a 4 to 5 color deck, sometimes a banner or 2 is going to allow you to have that 27 different, 30 different sources that you need to do that.
Right.
I don't like the banners. It's not really where I want to be. I wouldn't play them in 2 color or even 3 color decks generally. But as we can see, Neil looks to have a lot of colors out. I mean, I can already see Sultai and Plains in play.
I'm pretty sure he's on the full amount of colors here.
Yeah. So, you know, maybe he's making those banners work for him, getting him all the additional colored sources he needs to cast a lot of powerful spells across all colors.
Right. And like I said, he's got the Villainous Wealth to finish off with too, and those banners really do help, because I've just found that, like, cresting that so when you go from 5 mana to 6 mana or 5 is X to 6 is X for the Villainous Wealth, it's just a huge difference.
It's enormous. Yeah, you're completely spot on.
Yeah, 6, and then 6 plus is like, sure, whatever, I'll take whatever I can get. But
Yeah.
it's just a big gap between 5 and 6.
Because
and
that
banners
cycle
help.
of gold common morphs that are, you know, some of the best cards in everyone's decks,
Yeah.
those cost 6.
Right, they all cost 6, and that's what you need to do to get above the hump. And sometimes, you know, getting that banner really helps.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it for 5, you're likely to hit 2 lands and one of those guys that you can't cast, and maybe you just get 1 small thing, 2 small things. If
Right.
you do it for 6, now you hit, you know, 3 to 4 spells you can cast, and you can cast the best thing you hit. You know?
Right.
It's a world of difference, as you just said.
Yeah, big difference. So this looks like an armament core, though, coming down for Oliver, who looks pretty stabilized here. He's at 10. He's deciding where to throw the counters here.
Which could certainly be a tough decision in this spot. Lots of different creatures in play. I think if we could go back, William Jensen and
Yeah, they're just
Xavier.
finishing resolving mulligans. You're right, they're underway, so we'll jump back over there to that match. Again, Huey Jensen on the precipice of yet another top 8.
Pretty incredible.
8 times last season.
All-time
Set a
record.
Yeah.
All-time record.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Though, in defense of Owen Turtenwald, when Owen set the record with 7,
Yeah.
I believe Owen played something like 12 GPs that year. They've increased the amount of GPs a lot in the schedule. So I believe,
Significantly.
right, so Williams 8, which is very impressive, I believe may have been in around 20 GPs played, compared to Owen 7 in only 11 or 12.
Okay.
So
That is something to
8
consider.
is the record, but Owen's feat in 2011 or 12, whenever that was, may have been the more impressive feat.
Okay, interesting.
Ironically, now they're best friends and teammates.
Right.
Not a team you really want to sit across from in a,
Not
in a
even close.
GP.
Yeah, and we had Reed Duke and Owen play each other earlier.
Oh yeah, that was
Feature
fun.
match here. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Owen won.
And also, Huey was watching.
Of
I
course.
walked by, said the kids are fighting again.
Yeah.
All right, so morphs trade, and a new morph appears here for Jensen, though. It's not looking great for him right now. He's really getting beaten down pretty hard. Chief with a Scale, Unyielding Krumar as a 3/4, and now an evasive threat as well with the Alabaster Kieran, and Xavier's really just kind of putting it to him.
Yeah, once again, he's outclassed. This time, I think William has some powerful spells in his hand. I see a Pine Walker, maybe a Bear's Companion. I'm not sure if that is a Bear's Companion, but that is a Pine Walker.
All right, attack with the morph. He figures he's not going to turn it face up this turn anyway.
So have we seen if Xavier has any removal in his hands?
That's the big question right now.
Because if he doesn't, the Bear's Companion and the Pinewalker are going to gum up the ground real quick.
Really?
But if Xavier can kill this bear...
He's got a kill shot in his hand. That's awkward.
Yeah. Does he have a smite? Looks like he's tapping 4.
Maybe he's got a smite. Oh, I might have actually seen that as a kill shot. I think he had smite.
Because, I mean...
That's a huge difference.
Huey down to 11, I mean, now he's already being attacked for 7.
Yeah.
This game gets dicey for him. Even if the Pinewalker successfully gums up the ground next turn, it's only 2 hits from the Kieran.
Right. Yeah, this is a really tough spot for Jensen. It looks like Xavier might be able to just run him over and force a game 3 here.
And he knows that. That's why he's chump blocking now to gain the 3 life, because he wants to make it 4 hits from the Kieran and not 2.
Right.
Still a tough spot, though. He's got to find answers. But we know he has multiple Savage Punches.
That's true.
It's not like
the question
he can't
is, does he
draw
have
out.
the time to deploy them?
Well, I don't think he has any in hand, but I think he does have the time. I mean, assuming Xavier doesn't have yet another removal, if Huey just plays this Pinewalker here, the ground is stopped, right?
Yep.
So then it's just 2 in the air down to 5.
Yep.
And then, he could punch away the Kieran.
Sure.
He does need to draw it, assuming he doesn't have it.
Right. Okay, so this is within reach here for Huey, but he's going to need some specific cards, and he's also going to need things to go right for him. Interesting attack there. Oh, that must be a Pinewalker on the battlefield then, huh?
Does he have multiple?
I don't know.
I'm pretty confident the card I saw in his hand is Pinewalker.
It definitely was.
Right,
Yeah.
but that could be a Pinewalker also.
It kind of must be here, right? Like,
I don't know how many of them he has.
But what else could he have here where he's just like, sure?
A Dragon Scale Boon, maybe? To untap it and eat a non-yielding Kumar. He might also just have a removal, but no, I don't. He'd probably just leave it up to try and not get attacked on the ground.
Oh, geez. Here's Bitter Revelation for Xavier, and he finds Utter End in that pile along with a dead drop.
Yeah, and a Sultai Scavenger, another flyer.
And a Scavenger. So
I don't even know which 2 of the 3 he wants.
I don't know if it matters.
No, it probably doesn't.
Just great choices all around here. He can't cast either, right? Even with a land that's 3, 4, 5, 6,
He can cast the Scavenger, right?
Oh, yeah. I meant the dead drop or the...
Oh, sure, right. No, he should definitely take the Scavenger, and then I think he's deciding which removal to take with the Scavenger.
Okay.
I mean,
either
should
end the game, yeah.
I would probably take the dead drop, I think, with the Scavenger, but he has to delve a decent bit to cast the Scavenger here, but I don't think he's even played a land. I don't know if he has one in hand or not. I don't know. I would almost certainly take the Scavenger to put in play this turn, and then I think the dead drop in the Utter End is pretty close. Maybe just the Utter End, because I don't know if he can
dead drop next turn if he scavenges.
Exactly.
Yeah. His graveyard will have two extra cards in it.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have 5 right now, and if he has a land to play, he's only going to have to remove 3 if he doesn't.
Right.
But yeah, he takes the Utter End, which is the safer pick because you don't need to kill William's second creature. You just need to kill a big one or a flyer or something like that.
By the way, this is not great news for Jensen when you see your opponent discard dead drop after just filling up their yard, too. It's like he's got to have something better.
Right.
All right, but Xavier's not going to play into Pinewalker here. He's only going to attack with the Kieran and pass a turn back.
Well, I agree with that attack. What I don't agree with is passing the turn. Why didn't he cast Sultai Scavenger?
I don't know. But it was Pinewalker. I don't know why he didn't cast it. He can't cast anything now this turn.
Right.
And he doesn't have any reason, like there's no dead drop to keep him from it.
Right.
You got an update?
I got a quick update on the Neil Oliver match on the back table. Neil nearly decked himself. Got himself down to 3 or 4 cards left with multiple Sultai Soothsayers and Bitter Revelation, and then ultimately fired off a Villainous Wealth for 7. Got a Tusk Colossadon, an Abzan Guide, and some other creature, and was able to take the game 1 against his opponent.
All right, thank you, BDM. So yeah, this is a little strange that he didn't play that Scavenger, and it might come back to bite him, though it probably won't.
Yeah, I mean, especially not taking the dead drop. He doesn't even have to preserve Delve.
No.
The only reason that you could really have to not play it here.
Right. So Huey's attacking.
Huey of no fair.
Attacks for 5. Xavier's going to fall down to 11.
I guess he's got 2 things to drop.
Okay, so he's got Force Away for the Kieran, and that is going to get him a loot here, and he finds a Highland Game, which could be interesting. So what does he need to do here?
He's going to make a Hooting Mandrills, I think.
Okay.
Because that's going to gum up the ground.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would have sent the Pinewalker if he didn't have a successful blocker on the ground.
Right.
I know he's prepared to lose to removal, of course, in a game this close. Like,
yes.
You're not trying to beat removal. And he is going to lose removal because we know that Xavier has the Utter End.
Right, and he probably suspects it as well since the dead drop hit the bin and he could have cast it next turn quite easily.
But it's just impossible to beat something like that out of the spot.
Right.
So I'm sure that he's just ignoring the possibility of Xavier having removal.
Yep, and even though that doesn't feel good when you're at the table doing it, it's certainly the correct play. And
yeah.
There we go.
You got to give yourself whatever chance to win you can.
Right. All right, so Xavier does ultimately capitalize on a really nice curve out there and force a game 3 here. So and remember, we're playing for the top 8. This is the last round of Swiss. Huey trying to add to his long list of GP top 8s in his career. Xavier, I don't know offhand, but I'm assuming this would be his first GP top 8.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him.
I mean, either. So he's got a pretty tall order. Like, okay, playing for my first GP top 8, and then it's like, hi, I'm Huey. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to think of anybody else in the whole world that you'd want to see less than that. I mean, I could think of a list of 10 guys off the top of my head that would be like, oh,
I remember
great.
we were in the same position. One of the last GPs we covered, we're watching William Jensen play against a very young kid for top 8.
I remember that.
I believe he might have been 12 or something.
And Huey got him.
And Huey got him, and it was the same spot. They had a tight 3-game match. They were at X and 2.
I remember that,
to make
yeah.
top 8. I think that was GP Philly or GP Washington, D.C. I don't remember which
DC.
it
It was DC. The
GP
one that's
Washington,
scaring
DC.
one, I think.
Yeah.
I remember that. Mm-hmm. Well, Huey got there that time. Let's see if he can do it this time.
Yeah.
So we're jumping in over to Steve Rubin and Pascal Maynard. Pascal's from the area. I think he's from Montreal, not Ottawa, but
Close enough.
yeah.
I actually improved my Canadian geography a lot on this trip.
I have too.
I've been looking at the map, seeing where Toronto is,
I
where
have doing
Montreal
that too.
is.
And I've also learned that we're not technically in Ottawa at the moment. The building
Okay.
we're in is actually across the river.
In Quebec?
We're in Quebec, yeah. So it's a little, I mean, it's still all the same area. But
Yeah.
whoa, molting snakeskin here from Maynard.
Not a card I like very much.
Not a fan of the snakeskin myself. But it does have a role here, and it looks like it might get him past an archer's parapet, though Steve Rubin has an Obzon charm here to take down the swarm of blood flies. All right, so that goes away.
Yeah, and Ruben might not even be that happy about unhappy about losing his parapet because he has a Grim Haruspex out.
Oh, he could just cash it in for something maybe better?
Yeah, I mean, you know, cycle
Gotta be
parapet,
hopeful.
draw a card, see what I get.
Yeah, this is actually not that bad at all, though the life totals are super critical here, of course. What is this nonsense? What nonsense do you have?
Ooh, there goes that plan.
Throttle, yeah.
Now he won't be drawing any cards.
Yeah, it's other creatures from the Haruspex.
Yeah, and now he's not happy anymore.
Nope.
He didn't mind before. He was like, all right, whatever, I'll draw a card for my parapet. Now it's like, well, I won't be drawing any cards.
Right, it's amazing when you, the level of hope, you know, when you can just have a random draw up top of your deck versus nothing. All right, so down goes the parapet, and of course there's no trigger there. Though Steve Rubin had enough in his hand to make that not a completely disastrous situation, though he's going to need something here.
Yeah, I mean, all he has to do is deal with the timely horde mate, like
Yeah.
a disabilitating
He
injury or
must have been
something.
at like 1 or 2 at that point.
Right, but without something to deal with it, that's game.
That's game. So things wrapping up pretty quickly here in Ottawa. We've got,
I think we got another good update.
Well,
we just watched Pascal. Was that someone you're seeing?
Pascal was kicking himself because he could have used that throttle on his own swarm of blood flies to make it smaller, and then
Oh, it was a 5/5?
it was a 6/6,
Wow.
Wow.
and his opponent was at 1, and he just pieced it all together.
It actually would have been lethal.
It actually would have been lethal, and it would have countered the the Obzon charm.
Thank you, Beanie. And we came in just as that was
Yeah,
happening.
it was. You could see Pascal was sort of like
Yeah.
stupid, you know,
But he figured
but
it
in
out.
French, and it sounded a lot nicer.
Yeah. All right, so underway here in the third game, Xavier Allegrucci looking to try to get past the Hall of Famer, William Huey Jensen, sitting at 9th in the world right now on the top 25 pro rankings. And Huey looking to say, no, sir.
Oh,
But he's not doing a great job of
Yeah.
it here, as all he's produced is a single 2-drop. Now, to be fair, though, Xavier hasn't done a ton here either.
No, but he is bitter revelationing.
That's got to make him feel pretty good under essentially no pressure at all.
Yeah.
And taking the best 2 cards of the top 4
and
is
we can
a great
see
spot.
we can see William's hand pretty clearly. It's a Bear's Companion, which is good, but then 3 land. So it's going to be big for Huey if he can find some ways to push that Elder through and get away, maybe loot away some of those land.
It'll be huge.
Yeah, because he's already got way more land than he needs. It looks like he's on 7 land, 2 spells at this point.
Does he even consider just bluffing into the Horde Chief?
The problem is it's a Horde Chief. It's a vanilla 2/3. It's probably just going to block.
He's going to block anyway.
Right.
And say if you've got an Awaken the Bear, sure.
Yeah, if that's an Alabaster Karen, something with flying, maybe you bluff into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really doubt that Horde Chief isn't going to block.
I mean, it basically says if it hits, he draws a card. Like
Right.
the upside's so big, but yeah, such an expendable card, especially when Xavier's just refilled his hand with Bitter Revelation as well, and he's got expendable creatures now.
Yeah, that creature is just not good for much, you know. Let's pretend that William attacked and had a trick and he took it. He'd most likely just get to loot and post-combat play something bigger than the Horde Chief anyway.
Oh, hey, look at this.
Wow.
That's a bold attack.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
Wow, I didn't even consider an attack there.
No, see, I mean, drawing cards is valuable and more valuable than damage generally.
Yeah.
And with the life totals this high, I mean, it's just not really a great play to deal 2 to your opponent and let him hit you back with a Jeskai Elder.
He just drew Surrak.
William did?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
Off of it. Here's the Bear's Companion. That could have been a big mistake from Xavier. It's a small thing, but when you're talking about like actual cards, you see that island in Huey's graveyard?
And that is Surrak.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
This could be big.
I mean, that's just almost a time law. It's a meaningless amount of damage at this point, fairly meaningless, not completely meaningless. And Huey gets 1 card deeper.
Right.
You know.
Okay, here's Swarm of Bloodflies, and he's going to pass the turn back with no good attacks. And Huey, again, 1 card deeper into his deck here.
And how this game has changed. I mean, don't get me wrong.
He would have drawn it.
Right,
yeah.
It didn't all change because of the 1 hit from the Elder.
But it could have.
Yeah.
And it certainly did change some stuff. So.
But the problem with William's hand before that it was all land is not that big of a problem anymore now that he's got a Snowhorn Rider and a Surrak to cast.
So does he just slam Rider here then, or do you pass and leave up Surrak?
I think you probably pass and leave up Surrak.
It's a little less mana efficient, but it doesn't really matter, right? Like 6 versus 5 is about the same.
Yeah, and you might draw another morph next turn. So you can do 2, get them both in play. You know, because you can morph your Snow and Rider and like a Pine Walker, which we know he has at least 2 of. Whereas the Surrak just hard costs 5, and it's hitting for 1 more point.
Yeah, it's bigger, and it also gives your other creatures trample too.
Right. So I think that's where he wants to be right now. I think end of this turn we'll just see Surrak.
BDM.
Shahar Shenhar, 2 quick games to take the win.
Take the win.
Yeah,
Very
High Spire Mantis and a flying Leaping Master. Leaping Master doing everything this weekend, even attacking.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's going to let me hear it because during the draft I thought he should have took the land over the High Spire Mantis. So he got the High Spire Mantis beatdown going.
Mantis
Didn't he just wheel the land anyway?
Yeah, I think
High Spire
so.
Mantis and Leaping Master just flew over a pair of Arch Parapets.
Okay.
For over a couple, like 3 or 4 turns to take the final game.
Okay.
And it's looking really promising for Huey here.
Yeah, Huey has absolutely put the beats down here. Xavier's effectively tapped out.
If he has any sort of a trick here, this is going to be a huge blowout. If he doesn't, the game's not out of reach for Xavier.
Right.
And we know Xavier's got spells. He Bitter Revelation. He hasn't stopped doing things.
So is Xavier, is he priced into double blocking the Surrak here? Is that the play?
I think so. If not, he's taking 10 and Huey's guys have trample. You probably can't beat a trick anyway. And if Huey doesn't have a trick, I mean, the Swarm's going to grow. I mean, I guess you don't have to be priced in, I mean, you should block. You don't have to be priced into double blocking. You could just block the bear. But I would probably double block the Surrak if I were Xavier.
Okay. Well, it looks like he wants to trade the bear for the Bondkin here, and that leaves Surrak on the battlefield. He is going to take a total of 7 damage in that exchange.
Yeah.
But he does grow the Swarm of Bloodflies up a bit, which I guess it attacked last turn? Is that why it's tapped? Nice. Huey's at 18?
Sure.
All right.
Well, no, he took the 1 hit from the horse.
Yeah, he took the 1 hit.
Wait, no, he has 2
lands.
Yeah,
okay.
2 gain life lands.
You get to go on the journey with Ben and I here as
we
trying
to figure out what's going on.
Replay it all.
So, I mean, I don't know whether William has a trick or not, but I know that, if the Surrak was out of play, I would like my spot a lot better if I was Xavier.
Yeah.
I think Xavier made the play because he has a feat of resistance in hand.
Okay.
So he can make a better block this turn, a safer block.
Yeah, this is a good block. He gets to keep his Mardu Rough Rider this way.
And this is still a really tight game.
Yes.
Because even
Xavier's down to 6.
But he's got a handful of spells, so I mean, especially the feat, which is going to give him pretty good blocks here.
Yeah, Huey wants to see one of his tempo plays, a Set Adrift or a Crippling Chill or something like that.
Yeah, if Huey
And I don't
doesn't
think
have
he
anything
has
like
it.
that,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting.
And this is where Huey's going into crunching the numbers mode. When you see both hands go on that head of his, this is where he's running through iterations.
Yeah.
You know, normally he can play on, I mean, for lack of a better term, autopilot, where he knows what to do sort of intuitively. But when you get to the state like this, where there's 3 creatures on one side, 4 on the other, a whole bunch of mana, he's representing a combat trick, you really have to kind
While
of
he
go
thinks,
into
let's
crunch
get
mode.
another update from Medium.
Pascal Menard 2-0 over Steve Rubin.
Okay.
You know, just no good starts for Steve in either of the matches. Had a sideboard card in game 1. Had
that's
to
unfortunate.
fix his deck, forced mulligan. Called the judge on himself
Sure.
before anything went anywhere. Was really struggling. Pascal obviously won that game 1, and then game 2 he just bum rushed Steve very quickly.
Okay.
And so he is
in the top 8,
he's
most
in
likely.
the top 8. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got Sam Black, Lucas Xiao, Shahar Shenhar, and Pascal Maynard in the top 8 so far.
I think the 2 who drew are pretty safe.
Yeah. We also have Seth Manfield and
These are the ones that I
Jessica-
feel very sure.
Jessica Buchanan.
Jessica Buchanan.
Pascal's breakers are good. They're not amazing, but they're good. Yeah, and Jessica's and Seth's same thing. It is not impossible that one of those 3 will miss, though I think it's unlikely.
All right, so we had a massive trade-off here.
Did he just,
Everybody blocked.
Yeah, what happened to the feat of resistance? Am I seeing things? Did he just not use it?
He must not have used it because it's not in his yard.
It's weird. Could have saved one of those giant creatures like the swarm of blood flies.
Of blood flies, yeah. He does have it in his hand, the feet.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was saving it for besides a giant flyer. That swarm would be, what, a 7/7 flyer now?
Right. So now Xavier's down to 6, but facing not a very impressive army left over here from Huey. And he's going to peck away with the Kieran.
Sure.
And Huey's just looking to draw something big here.
Well, he's got a dead drop, which he should just fire off because you can't really get...
Xavier has his dead drop?
Yeah, and you can't really get the big creatures anyway.
No.
So he should fire off this dead drop. He hasn't been, so I don't know if he's going to, but I don't think you really want to save it. If he fired it off, he'd then be able to send that Horde Chief every turn also.
Yeah.
Because the Karen's back to block, and he's not even worried about Huey having a trick because he's got that feat of resistance.
Yeah, he could be missing out on a lot of critical damage here by not playing that dead drop.
He's playing very, very conservatively.
Right.
I don't mind saying too conservatively.
Okay. And here's a Sultai Flare. So Huey, back in business now. He's got attacks. You don't want to give Huey a window, right? Like an extra couple of draw steps, he can just brutalize you.
Yeah, he's giving him draw steps. He's giving him life. It's not a great job of closing out this game by Xavier. Maybe he doesn't have the dead drop. Maybe I was just seeing things. I just saw an Utter End. It's possible that I somehow thought Utter End was dead drop, though they don't look very similar. But I think he has both.
Okay. Man, if he has both, how is he going to lose this?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's at 6. And he's not casting them, so he's definitely, if it's possible, he's definitely giving Huey the chance. Obviously, he's still a pretty big favorite.
Right. Yeah, and that Krumar Bonkin's a big deal here. Because that's going to shut off the attack from Huey, and the Utter End preventing Huey from gaining life from Flare could matter in a big way, too.
Huey, I don't believe, is empty-handed. I think I saw a Force Away in there.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's got 3 cards. I believe 2 of them are land.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, whatever he drew this turn, too, is the 4th card.
It's a Set Adrift.
It might have been a Set Adrift, not a Force Away, or he might have both. I'm not
think
sure.
he has both. We'll find out shortly. Here's the Set Adrift.
This will probably pull the feet.
Yeah, you'd think so.
And now Huey's going to Force Away it in
Now
response.
Huey's going to force it away. Okay.
Yeah. And this
does that get it big enough to get a loot here? No, it doesn't, right? Jeskai Elder's going to have 2 triggers.
No, but this is going to be a decent turn for Huey with an attack and everything. And
send in the squad.
Yeah, and Xavier really kind of did this to himself. If he had just cast that dead drop at any point,
right?
I mean, cast the feat to save anything. I mean, he's just been holding on to everything.
Right. And now he's got the Utter End in his hand, but it's stranded because he doesn't have the mana for it. You never want to lose with cards like that stuck in your hand.
Yeah.
That's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's really happened this game. I mean, this block should be the Alabaster Kirin on the Bear's Companion and the Mardu Horde Chief on the Jeskai Elder.
So, because the Elder is a 3/4,
right?
Right.
So, but he can't let the 2/3 power guys in, or he dies.
Because he dies. So,
so he finds the correct block here. Better to lose the non-flyer, non-vigilant creature, and you better not to let Huey loot, draw a card and discard a card. So he does find the correct block here. And it's funny because he's down to 1, but he's still not out of the game because now he's got the dead drop, he's got the Utter End.
Right, and it looks like he can cast both of them this turn too.
So
he's cutting it real close.
Yeah, he's definitely made this game closer than he had to, but he's not out of it. He's gonna Utter End that, no reason to let him gain life.
No.
Then he'll dead drop away the other guys probably. Maybe if he has a good blocker to drop, he might not, but.
No, he's doing it dead drop.
He's leaving mana up, so he might have something else to do, too.
I see. That would be huge. If he has another spell to play this turn...
he must. I assume he would have...
should just be game, right?
Well...
Is it another crew?
He's at 1. William can untap and draw Aerostorm. I don't know.
Sure. Does he have that? Yeah, I haven't seen Huey's...
I believe they're pretty much both Hellbent now, just lands in both their hands. So it's going to come to the top of the library for the next turn or two for Huey. I don't know if he has any direct damage or not.
Well, Huey's only got 1 more turn after this one because he's going to take 7. He was at 10.
Right, but if he draws a blocker for that Bondkin, then he could have another turn potentially.
Sure. Here we go. Huge draw step, and it's a land for Huey, and that's going to do it. He floods out at the end, and Xavier somehow, some way, finds a way to win the game, defeat Huey, and get into the top 8.
Yeah. I don't know what to say there. I think... Xavier was fortunate that Huey didn't have a little more. Really holding on to that dead drop feat and Utter End just longer than he should have. Okay. But, he had some nice cards. People do use their spells too quickly sometimes and get punished for it. In this case, holding all of that, I would certainly have used some of it. Maybe you hold on to something like Utter End because he didn't really need to Utter End any particular thing out. Maybe you just go ahead and play the dead drop so that, William doesn't have that alpha that he had,
Right.
Something of that nature.
So we've got the Neil Oliver match, which we should jump over to momentarily.
Cool.
And we're going to see who's going to take one of these last slots, though. If I look at this, 2 people drew.
Right.
Seth Manfield and Jessica. We have Pascal, Sam, Lucas, Shahar, and Xavier in.
And
which
we know
is 7.
Right.
So the winner of Oliver... the winner of this match right here, Oliver versus McInnes, but there's also Douglas versus Stern.
Right, because of the draw, it's not a clean situation anymore.
So
it's one person at X2-1 should be able to miss, and then it comes down to tiebreakers.
Right.
But Trent Douglas's breakers are pretty bad. He's going to need some help.
We just saw a handshake there, and I think that Miles McInnes just won.
That's disappointing. Not for him,
won?
but okay.
I didn't hear you, Rashad. Neil just won.
Yeah, I was rooting for Neil mostly just because he's on the American national team. To compete in the World Magic Cup.
For sure.
But, obviously, of course, it'll be a good accomplishment for both of them. I'm not sure if either of them are queued for the next Pro Tour. I think this is probably
Neil's
an important
not.
match.
Neil was not. He's super excited to be back on the Pro Tour. BDM, what did you just see?
Yeah, Neil Oliver's in full Mark Twain mode. Reports of his death greatly exaggerated, obviously. He, again, villainous wealth.
He got there.
He hid behind Dragon Knight Savant, Archer's Parapet, Monastery Flock, just time.
So those weren't his Tuskguard captain?
No. Well, the Tuskguard captain may have been his, but the Colossadon, the Witness of the Ages, and the Long Shot Squad were not.
Okay, see, because we came in right at the last second, and I saw Neil shake hands, and I saw all of those cards in the red zone, and I thought, oh, Miles must have won. No, they went the other way.
No, it was...
Welcome back to the booth here.
Yeah, Neil played a very patient game.
All right, well, thanks, BDM. So, that does it. Although, we don't know who's in the top 8 for sure yet here. And that doesn't do it. We've still got Douglas and Stern.
And tiebreakers do move. So if Douglas beats Stern and there's 9 people that finish at X2-1 or better, at a 12-2-1 or better, then Douglas is the favorite to not make it to get 9th, but breakers can move a couple percent.
Sure.
So, it is a sweat.
So right now, what we have as far as people that are either for sure in or going to be on that last bubble, we've got Seth Manfield.
Yeah.
We've got Pascal Maynard, Sam Black,
right.
Lucas Siao. They're in.
Right.
Those are the ones we know are in.
Right.
Shahar Shenhar.
Right.
Xavier, who we just saw. Jessica Buchanan.
Right.
Are all live here, and of course,
Lucas Siao, Samuel Black, and Shahar Shenhar will be in the top 8.
Okay.
They both have, all 3 of them, they were 1, 2, and 3 going in. Lucas and Sam drew and Shahar won. They all finish with more than 37 points.
Okay.
They all finish with 38 or more points.
So who's at risk here?
Then the other people are Steve Rubin. Did he win or lose? He lost to Pascal Maynard,
Ruben
right?
lost to Maynard.
Okay, so he's not in. Seth Manfield and Jessica Buchanan, who drew.
They drew.
They're at 37. Xavier, who just beat William Jensen, is at 37.
Yes.
Neil Oliver, who just beat Miles McInnes, is at 37. And then there's, how many people is that? Is that 4?
So we've got 3 in the top 8 for sure, and then the 37s. Maynard's on 37, right?
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we've also got Neil Oliver, who's on 39.
So he's in. And then the 9th person is...
So he's in.
Right, and the 9th person is that Trent Douglas, John Stern match.
Stern, right.
I mean, John Stern
going.
cannot make the top 8.
He cannot.
No, because if John Stern wins, it'll just be a clean cut at 37.
Okay, because he's going to make it to
Right.
36 at that point?
Right.
Okay.
But if Trent Douglas wins, one person with 37 will miss top 8. It will come down to tiebreakers between all 4 or 5 of the 37s that we just named.
Yeah, there's 4. There's Xavier, Seth Manfield, Pascal Maynard, and Jessica Buchanan.
Right.
And then Douglas would join that scrum as well.
Right.
So there would be a total of 5.
So it'll be 5 and
4
competing
slots.
for 4 spots on tiebreakers.
Okay. So we just sent BDM to go out and see if he can get a feel for what's going on with the with that match over there, because that's a huge match. That's going to make a big difference.
All those people have 37. Pascal, the 2 draws, and Trent. Where does the other 37 come from?
I've got Jessica and Seth tied.
Correct.
Or Drew.
They both have 37.
Maynard.
Right.
He's on 37.
Right.
I've got Xavier.
Xavier.
Is he not on 37?
No, Xavier just got
He's
the 39.
Okay.
Xavier is locked in the top 8
All right.
also.
So the 37s are Douglas if he wins, plus Jessica, Seth, and Pascal.
And 1 of the 4 of them will miss, and 3 of the 4 of them will make it.
Okay.
And if Douglas loses, then it's a clean cut, and the other 3 make it.
Okay. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be one of those tight sweats, unless, of course, John Stern wins, and then it won't be. Any update on, yeah, we're still on BDM. Any update on John Stern versus Douglas?
Game 3, I might be able to move them. So John Stern is just about to start game 3. I might be able to move them into the feature match area if we want to watch them play out that last game.
I want to watch him play.
All right, I'm going to go
sounds
do
good to
that
me.
right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to have him run. Huey, can I have you jump in for a minute?
Oh, yeah, cool.
Why don't we talk to Huey for a minute
Sure.
here? Just take this and then just pull it through there.
You can replace me with William Jensen anytime.
That's okay. We already got it. I would have done that had I thought of it, Rashad. Hi, Huey.
Hello.
Welcome to the booth. Let me get a mic on you so everybody can hear you. There you go. Hey, talk us through that last game.
So I kept 6 lands after mulliganing. Ben probably disagreed with that.
We didn't see
No,
that.
yeah,
We didn't
I
get to
kept-
see that choice.
I kept 6 lands because my deck has a relatively high curve. My spells are expensive. He also mulliganed, and I just felt like I need to hit my land drops in my deck, so I thought I would have to get a little lucky. I ended up not really getting much going at the beginning, but Xavier had a slow draw too.
Yeah.
So we sort of got to a stalemate. He was pretty low though. I think the biggest decision point was the turn I attacked with Serac Dragonclaw and
And the Snowhorn
Snowhorn
Rider.
Rider. Or I could have done nothing.
Yeah, that was close.
Ultimately, I just thought I really needed to get that swarm off the board, which worked out. I guess he said he had the feat in his hand at that time.
He had it at the time, but he, I guess, decided not
I
to
thought
use
about it. I thought about the turn for so long because I was worried about feet, but
Right.
I figured I actually didn't feel like I was ahead in that game, even with my big creatures out, just because like he has a lot of good, expensive cards like Utter End and Dead Drop, and I didn't want to get in a situation where he was able to draw some removal spell for one of my big creatures, and then the other one wasn't able to get through the swarm. So I tried to trade off. I tried to attack in a way to trade off. I guess on the last turn, maybe I should have cast Force Away. No, I couldn't cast Force Away first. I could have just waited. It's possible, and just hoped to like.
I mean, that was a super, super, super close match across the board.
Oh, definitely, yeah. He played. I mean, I thought he played well from what I could see. You know, I don't have hand cams, but
Yeah, we do, and he made some questionable plays in there.
Sure.
I mean, nothing crazy, but
Sure.
like, you know, when you had your board of 3 2-powered creatures, he had Dead Drop.
Yeah.
He just didn't cast it. we were thinking maybe you want to just start clearing away what you have. It's not going to get any better from there.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But he wanted to wait until it was maybe a little bit better.
Sure.
I think the main thing that we saw was when he decided to attack with his 2/3, and you had your looter, your Jeskai Elder out. I mean, that was like, you must have been like, yes.
I was really excited.
Yeah,
about
I mean, you
that,
effectively drew a card off of that.
Yeah, I was thinking, I drew the Elder and was able to play it on turn 3, and I was like, then he played a 2/3. I was like, at least if he plays a Morph, I can draw one of my Savage Punches or something. But I was like, I don't even have a good way to get this guy through. So yeah, when he attacked, I thought that was helpful. Plus my deck has a few Delve cards, so even just looting the land away helped. I felt like I played game 1 really, really crisp.
Was that the one where you raced? Where you kind of baited him into the race and finished him off?
I even attacked with the face down Mystic one turn where if he blocked, it was like a real blowout. Like I would have to spend my turn on morphing, but I just didn't think he would block, and then I ended up like winning one turn before him.
I thought that was great too. Huey, thanks for your time. We're going to go down to the feature match area right now, so just hang with me for 1 second. Sure. We'll head down there. We'll switch Ben back in. Thanks. All right, so it looks like we're going to get game 3 of John Stern versus Trent Douglas as we get Ben Stark back in the booth here. There you go. All right, so it looks like we are underway here. And this is an interesting one, Ben, because this is and isn't for top 8, right? It depends on who wins.
Right. I'm pretty sure John Stern cannot make top 8. I'm pretty sure that nobody with a record of 12-3 can make top 8, no matter how this shakes out. But if Trent Douglas wins, he's live to top 8, because definitely 12-2-1s will make top 8. And I think we figured it out correctly. I believe there will be, if Trent Douglas wins, there'll be 4 people at that record vying for 3 spots, and it will come down to tiebreakers.
Right. So let's see. So what does John Stern have to gain here? Pro point?
A lot, yeah.
Money, all of
2 pro points.
2 pro points.
Yeah, 11-4 is only worth 1 pro point. 12-3 gets you 3 pro points.
So this is a big match for him too.
Oh, yeah.
Like even if he's not live for top 8.
John's a pro. I mean, he goes to a lot of Grand Prix. He's looking at gold and platinum.
Yeah.
And 3 points is just a lot more than 1.
Sure.
I believe there was also some dream crushing going on, where they were looking to see if they could sneak Matt Costa up into the top 8.
I mean, that's cool of them as friends. We really took a detailed look at all the standings and everything. I do not believe that a 12-3 can make the top 8 at this point. I believe it would have been possible with dream crushing, except that the draw between Steph and Phil and Jessica.
The draw changed it, and now John's invested at this point.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, pro points. It's a big game.
Pro points, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, Grand Prix top 8s are awesome, but if you lose in the quarterfinals, you get 4 pro points. If you go 12-3, you get 3.
Yeah.
So I mean, as a pro, those pro points are so valuable.
And you know how it is when it gets down to the end of the season and
You've got
everybody
44,
needs 1 or 2. It's like, they're such a huge deal. And it can come down to a match just like this on a GP sort of near the beginning of the season, that doesn't seem to have a huge big consequence, but it can matter in a big way especially for a player like John Stern who really grinds pro points.
And there's some things that are overhyped, underhyped. Platinum is not one of them. Platinum is a big deal.
Platinum's sweet.
It's worth a lot.
Yes. A lot monetarily, a lot for your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like it's a big deal.
As a pro, I mean, that's all of our goal every year. There are other things, of course, we hope to make it the World Championships. You hope to do something like win Player of the Year. You're not that disappointed if you don't, but Platinum is the goal.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to make Platinum.
And I mean, it speaks really loudly, too, because, you look at it, and, you're in the Hall of Fame. You can go to any pro tour you want, but you still try to make Platinum because it has such great benefits.
Well, you want to dedicate a lot of time and effort to Magic because you love it, but if you don't make Platinum, you've got to, do other things for money, frankly.
Right.
Whereas Platinum is just worth so much that, if you can make Platinum, you can concentrate a lot of your effort on the Pro Tour.
Right, and John Stern is very much in the thick of that part of his career. I mean, he is in grind mode and, looking to pick up pro points whenever and however he can. So this is a big match, and it looks like things are progressing pretty nicely for both players. It looks like John Stern's ahead here, but not by a ton. Let's see what he's got. Ooh, that's going to help out. And he's just going to jam with the team after playing a Chief of the Edge. And Smoke Teller, is that going to jump in front of the Unyielding Krumar? It is, and I think that John Stern is about to finish off Trent Douglas here and end his hopes for a GP top 8 here, especially with that play. And that's going to do it. John Stern is victorious. He's going to secure his spot in the top 16. He's not going to make it into the top 8 though, because that's actually going to create that cut that we talked about, right?
Right. It should be a clean cut now.
So our top 8 should be Jessica Buchanan,
Okay.
Seth Manfield, Pascal Maynard, Sam Black, Lucas Siao, Shahar Shenhar, Xavier, I can't remember his last name. Allegrucci, thank you, and Neil Oliver. This is a nice top 8
Yeah,
here.
very nice top 8.
Wow.
Imagine if William Jensen gets in too.
Oh, that would have been sweet.